I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, my friend and yours, Angel Ortega. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. And by a lot of stuff, I mean, really, actually not that much stuff. But, I mean, some fights did happen over the weekend in Tampa. We got a huge boxing match coming up this Saturday night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Turkey Al-Sheikh putting on the rematch of one of the biggest heavyweight fights of all time. We also got a few things of news to talk about. Conor McGregor embarrassing himself once again. Before we break into all that, as always, we're brought to you by a few sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy, ELYXR, and our friends over at BetMGM. Rogue Energy, they keep it fueled up when I'm at the gym, which I've been hitting hard lately. Folks, we're coming up on the new year. Maybe you're trying to go ahead and get back into the gym. Maybe you're just trying to get yourself to motivate to go. Well, go ahead and hit up Rogue Energy for 10% off. Use code SOUNDOFF, all caps, code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off. ELYXR are going to get you really high with their Delta 8 products. Once again, code SOUNDOFF for 10% off, all caps when you spell the brand's name. However, lastly, our friends over at BetMGM, Kansas. Actually, you know what? I say Kansas. They're legal in like 36 states. Guys, if you can pull it up, follow that link down below. If you click on the state, you can go ahead and get put straight in your start account, and they'll give you up to $1,500 in free bets paid back if you don't hit. So, hey, there's not a lot of combat sports to end of the year, but hey, even if you're an NFL fan, an NBA fan, the Thunder just lost the NBA Cup last night. Go figure.
They played the Bucks, right?
They did, yeah. We can't win the finals. We can't win a championship there. I thought maybe we'd get the in-season tournament championship. Can't do that either.
But you know who's back? Lonzo's back.
Yeah, fuck him. I don't care about Lonzo.
But if he was a second point guard on your bench, I bet you wouldn't be pissed.
That's a good point.
I would say you'd rather have him than Josh Giddey, wouldn't you?
Well, we got.
Well, because they got Josh Giddey.
We got Alex. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
I guess they got Josh Giddey.
Yeah, we got the GOAT, Alex Caruso, dude.
That's a pretty good card to have as your backup, though.
Yeah, no, he did fine, but we did lose to the Bucks. I was like, dude, like, are you shitting me? Like,
I mean, do you really think you're gonna beat him though?
I did. I thought we were gonna beat him. I did.
I think you guys have more depth than them for that. Without a doubt.
But
I've been
also,
watching lately.
I could also handle losing, but like we got blown out. Like it wasn't close.
Wait, was that like the 140?
We lost by 18 points. It was like 97 to 81, and I think I stopped watching the game because we were down by like 25. Like we did some hardcore stat padding at the end, basically, to make it look closer. But
I've been watching some of these NBA podcasts. I don't know if you've checked any of them out. Like, I saw the KG one talking about.
I haven't seen. The only one I've actually watched is Paul George podcast. Actually, really good.
Well, it was Mellow KG, and I forget they were talking about I think it was AI or whatever.
No,
I could be wrong. It might have not been AI, but dude, they were talking. They're like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I kind of see it and I get it. He's like, I feel like people nowadays, he's like, some of these young guys come into the league, I don't think they give a fuck about playing basketball. Like, they don't give a fuck about winning.
No, they don't.
They're like, I think they come in, they get paid, they put up stats, they get the ball. But I feel like as far as like being part of a winning process and being part of a winning team, he's like, I think like that's really going away because, you got these guys that do their 1 year in college to come in, they get drafted, and that's it. Like, and people like commented like names people they thought. I mean, they threw like Ben Simmons out there. I think they threw out Zion out there at one point. Like people were going hard in the comments about this. And dude, I gotta say it, man. I really do think like sadly for the NBA, like for a few years now, the quality's dropped down. Like once the once the game became less physical, they added freedom of movement rules, like a bunch of this shit. I feel like the game got infinitely worse. You essentially killed off a whole role in the center position at one point. Where now you can't be a guy who's just like working the post, being a big man, being very physical. And working like that, like pretty much now, if you can't shoot at every position, you're kind of boned out of the league.
Well, and also it doesn't help that like if you watch a game, like almost I don't want to say every game's the same, but like I'd say like what
everything is called.
How many teams are in the league? Fucking 30. I'd say like 25 out of 30 teams. What's the strategy? You're gonna run down there. You're gonna try and hit the layup, or if there's a clear lane to the basket, you're gonna go for a layup. If there's not, you're gonna kick out to hit the three. You're gonna kick it out to try and
your shooters in the corner. Your top of the keep if he's good enough.
There is no mid game anymore. There's like you said, centers have essentially now you have to be a guy that can, make those deep shots
or pass well at least
because being physical on the inside isn't really an option anymore.
Which is insane. It's insane. That was like a whole play style that got killed off. That I don't think had a downside to it.
Well, growing up, like I love teams like the Bad Boy Pistons and like a lot of those teams that were just like, yo, we're gonna go out there
and now some of those teams wouldn't have any success, dude. They're not allowed to actually defend. They're not actually able to put a hand on on, you know, they're not even, you can't throw much of it to the body.
You add that in along with the fact that like the biggest stars in the league, not all of them
get every call.
But what's that? But also like biggest stars in the league are playing 55 games. They're not playing 82 anymore. They're not even playing 80. They're not playing 70. You know, like take a look at almost any of them. You know, they're because they need load management or whatever. It's like at this point, just put the league down to 50 games,
which would make sense.
You know, but they won't.
I've always said I feel like what they should do is cut the games down by I forget how much it is, and just have more teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Could you imagine could you imagine if like I don't know, like number 10 upset number 1 or whatever, you know, or however many more teams they would add?
And they've done little things to try and get people more intrigued. And like I actually love the NBA Cup. Last year I had a lot of fun watching it. This year I watched a fair bit of it too, and I was excited to see the Thunder in the finals. And you know, like they didn't win it all, and I thought for sure we were not going to win it all. I told you know my girlfriend last night, I was like, you know, you don't know the Thunder, they choke every single year in the playoffs. Whether it be the finals, conference finals, we just can't win it all. So now it'd be really fitting for us to get the NBA Cup finals and lose there, which we did.
Dude, Denver might get another ring, dude. Russell might finally get his piece.
Which, on one hand, I would suck to see somebody else win, but goddamn, dude, if Russell Westbrook wins a ring, it'd be like I won a chip, dude. Dude, like I thought whenever he got traded away from the Thunder, that genuinely impacted my basketball fandom, dude. Because like that guy was him, dude. I watched all 82 games after we got rid of KD. That next season, whenever Russell won MVP, I'm like, dude, every single game.
People hate it. People won't admit to it is too much, but I think having like a player stick around means a lot to them. Because like we're talking about Buddy, like once KD left, it was like over for him in the Thunder. Like he just didn't enjoy basketball anymore. Yeah. But I talked to some old, you know, I want to call them old heads, but people have been watching the game a long time, and dude, they were like. I talked to a guy who's like he's like, I'm a diehard Kobe fan. You know, I still support the Lakers, but he's like, I was a Kobe fan, if I'm being honest. Yeah. He's like, but I'll support the team. You know, that was the team I watched growing up, you know. He's like, I'm not a LeBron fan, if I'm being honest. But I want to see the Lakers win.
They are a superstar driven sport more than
any other sport.
Than any other sport. And the issue is that like they don't have as many sports.
Well, dude, it's not like soccer / you know, and football, you know, it's nothing like that. You know, there's not
because there's 15 guys on a roster, and of those 15, maybe 7 guys are getting actual play time. 8 guys.
And, you know, and that's always how it's going to be. But
especially in the playoffs. You know?
Yeah, and that's always how it's going to be. Granted, you don't really get to the deep parts of the bench until you get to the playoffs. You know, you don't rely on that third or fourth man significantly until you get to, you know, the finals and shit where you need those guys to be putting up those 3-point shots and be defensively active, you know?
Exactly. So, you know, if you're a BetMGM fan, you can throw some money down on NBA games for the rest of the year.
1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-GAMBLER.
1-800-GAMBLER if you're having any issues. But if you're not, you would go and have some fun. NBA, NFL. Huge boxing match this weekend, obviously, which we'll preview in a few minutes.
By the way, my round robin was so close to hitting.
See, this is why I don't. How many were you off by one?
I just needed. It was 4. So I can't remember if I did.
You need 4 out of 7?
No, I needed 3 out of 4 or 5. I can't remember.
4, okay.
And they were all plus money guys. I put all plus money guys because that's how you generally want to do round. No, not any betting advice. Just personally,
advice.
Just personally, I like putting down dogs because that way you get a pretty good payout. You know, if you have a few guys in there. I was tempted to put it at 2. Kind of my mistake that I didn't, but the payout wouldn't have been as good as it was if it was 3. So I had Daniel Marco. So I had Giannis versus Marcus on there, which was a close fight. I feel like Giannis could have won it, didn't get it.
Very close. Yeah.
I had Victor Petrino, which we're all going to talk about these guys, or not Victor Petrino. Jacoby. He's a big dog. Cub, who was a dog, and I threw Colby in there just because it was such a big payout that if it did hit, you know, so be it.
Yeah.
But you kind of see where my hope was in the other guys.
Well, we talked about it last week, and we'll just
perfect segue.
Perfect. Right? This is a perfect parlay into the episode. But so UFC Tampa going down from the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida, the Sunshine State home to welterweight to the main event. Colby Covington ending a year-long hiatus. Stepping up on short notice. It was 4 weeks.
Was it exactly a year? Or was it like a little over a year, almost going on 2?
Oh man, let me double check the dates. So December 16th last year. So it was almost exactly a year. Almost exactly a year that he was out of the cage. Stepping up on a month's notice. It was short notice for Colby. You know, and facing Joaquin Buckley. We said whenever we previewed this fight, if Colby Covington is a fraction as good as he used to be, this is a matchup that he can have success in. Joaquin Buckley, the grappling somewhat untested, never gone 5 rounds, so on and so forth.
Still hasn't.
Because he kicked the fucking shit out of Colby.
You know, I didn't think he'd do it like that. I mean, I thought that he would be able to win the rounds, potentially
Yeah.
make it to the 5th. I thought Colby was going to provide a much grittier fight. Dude, but it was one-sided traffic there for a bit.
It was. And over the course of the fight, like Colby did kind of make a little bit of a comeback, I'd say, in round 2 and round 3, but he still lost those rounds. Not really round 3, round 2. Yeah, I mean, round 1, he went out there, he got busted up, he got dropped. I mean, it was in the final seconds of the round. It was a rough opening round for Colby Covington. He got absolutely just slashed. Round 2, he came back. He tried to. Round 1, it looked like Buckley just got the jump on him. Like he went out there, he gave him no room to breathe, no chance to even throw anything back. Round 2, Colby tried to get back in there. He clinched him up against the fence. He had a little bit of success. Still lost the round. Still ate some huge shots. But then in round 3, we're coming back. I even saw some people maybe Colby edged out round 2 or so on and so forth. Round 3 though. For the record, he lost all 2 rounds on the judges' scorecards. Round 3, though, Joaquin Buckley goes out there and just went straight back on the attack. Even got mounted 1 point, blooded him up even worse.
Then Colby hit the reversal, though.
Colby did hit the reversal, ends up spending a little bit of time on top. They stand up, and the doctor calls it off. Cut on the eyelid. Normally I try to give some leniency and be like, you know what? The fight still wanted to see how it would have gone, so on and so forth. There's not much interest for me in this one.
I mean, I will say fights.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, no, I will say the only downside, and I always bring this up, I'm like, fights ending in cuts is always like really unfortunate because you're kind of like, you never know, right? You never know. And like I said, it's not like it was looking that way, but he did slightly turn it up. I don't think that would have necessarily changed the result. But I think it would have been healthy to see Buckley go the 4 or 5 rounds if he ended up going the 4 or 5 rounds, or if he could have got the complete finish on his own. And that could have been a nice thing to put in his cap because, I mean, Colby's still yet to get finished, right?
Kamaru finished him.
Oh yeah,
in the first fight, but
yeah,
outside of that, that's what Covington finished with strikes. This was the worst loss of Colby Covington's career. I feel comfortable saying that.
I know, but let's be honest. After a year layoff,
I'm not gonna
competing once a year, and he is 37.
This is where we're gonna disagree. I'm not gonna.
Did you start seeing the conversation? Was Colby ever elite?
Colby was. Here's the thing. I'm not going to do the shit where I'm going to make excuses for Colby. Like, oh, it was short notice. It was a year left. Whatever. Yada, yada, yada. I don't give a shit. You don't take the fight then. Here's the thing. He was elite for a short period of time.
Yeah, like a brief period.
He had a brief period of time in 2017, 2018. And I don't think he was elite in the way that, like, his striking, oh, man, this guy, his striking was just on point. Oh, his wrestling was on point. Neither one was. But he kind of came through at a time where, like, go back to 170, 155, sometime around there. Some of the best guys were guys that were, I don't want to say slow, plodding guys, but they're not going to go forward and throw 500 strikes in a round. Like, it was kind of guys like Colby, kind of like Max Holloway coming through, just volume strikers, never giving you a chance to breathe. That's what made him an elite fighter. But over time, guys have kind of, that fast-paced style, guys have found a way to deal with that, A lot of counter-punching, a lot of kind of meeting aggression with aggression, And you see the results, man. Like Colby, 3 losses in his last 4. The only winner being over a 7,000-year-old Jorge Masvidal, who nearly knocked him out in their fight as well. I mean, hey, man. It was a rough night for Colby Covington. He got his ass kicked from pillar to post. I mean, he lost the first 2 rounds. He was on his way to losing the 3rd. I don't feel that bad for the guy. I guess for me,
he finally got pushed down the rankings, which needed to happen.
Thank God. Now number 9. I mean, as far as Colby goes, 37 years old, like you said now, 3 losses in his last 4. We know Buckley. We know where Buckley's going from here. He's only going up. Probably not going to fight Leon next, but I think Kamaru is possible. JDM's possible.
I will say, dude, like it kind of makes you wonder now, like, holy fuck, that Ian Gary Buckley fight would have been a very defining fight at this time in the division.
We would have learned a lot about both of them, but I'm also pretty happy with the way things.
Yeah, I mean, Gary showed where he's able to compete up there. He needs a little bit of growth, but he's right on the verge at a young age.
And
Buckley's a little older, so this kind of works out for him in his way. It's a second weight class. It's essentially his second UFC career almost.
Well, yeah, and you know what, man? I really got to give Buckley some praise here. 30 years old, a few months away.
By the way, Kevin Holland was getting some love after this fight. They're like, man, something credit Kevin Holland. He fucking
not only that. Like, Joaquin Buckley was a guy that, like, this is one of the stories that I fucking love about MMA, dude. Like, Joaquin Buckley's 2020.
Dude, at one point he lost to Alessio DeShiro, bro.
By head kick.
One of the worst.
Knocked out in the first round.
I mean, a pretty bad loss on his record.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that went from being like a middling guy at middleweight to a bona fide title contender at welterweight. Like, there's a guy that at one point was 15-6, had multiple knockout losses in his UFC stint, and has completely brought it back. So I love seeing that.
Like I said, I got to get a little crow, but I'm still like, at the highest level though, we still haven't fully seen it because he's beat a lot of these older. I mean, he beat, and like I said, I'm not trying to like discredit the wins, but
No.
he
But
did.
it is the truth.
He did finish Wonder Boy, which is a hard thing to do. But
he was down 2-0,
and he
was
like
41-year-old Wonder Boy.
Yeah, Wonder Boy. He fought Nerlston, who was on short notice,
welterweight.
Welterweight. He beat Luke, who is kind of seemingly trying to still kind of get back to work somewhat regular form.
But still, I mean, the fight miles on Luke are insane.
Yeah,
so, and that was right after the brain bleed too. So.
Yeah, I mean, and look, at a time, I think Alex Morono was still a good win for what it is. He's a tough guy, and Andre Fialho, I mean, his UFC career could have been a little different. If he gets a win here, win there. It just didn't go in his way, and then after that, they just kind of piled on. He just never got back to form.
Yeah. So, but still a nice winning streak for him. We know what's next for Buckley.
No matter what, he's getting a great matchup next.
Exactly. He deserves it. Covington's more interesting for me because he's at an age, and afterwards he did the whole Colby spiel, right? He did the whole, the tide was turning, and I thought I could have. Yeah, right. He's like, the tide was turning. I could have done this. I could have done that. Even Chael in the locker room. Chael apparently, working with Cole before the training camp, and he kind of revealed that during the weigh-ins. Like, hey, he's going to be in the corner. He's kind of one of my main coaches now. Chael afterwards in the locker room being like, hey, I don't accept that result. Like, we were this close to turning the tide and all that shit. It's like, dude, this is the last thing that a 37-year-old Colby Covington needs to hear right now.
I mean, it's your coach. They're always going to give you something.
I know, but
granted, there is
false hope though.
Yeah. You shouldn't like fully lie, but at the same time, I get it. I think they want to give themselves somewhat credit for what they could have potentially done going forward, but it just seemed very dire at its time.
Exactly, and that's not what I want to hear. If you're a Colby Covington, I'd want some truth and honesty in that situation. But still, I mean, as far as what's next for him. We keep on saying he's 37. He's not 37 yet. He's going to be 37 in less than 2 months, but
he's going on 37.
We're predating him, whatever. But I just want to throw that out there in case somebody, is like, oh, you guys are wrong. But if you take a look at the 170-pound rankings, he's now ranked number 9, sandwiched in between Gilbert Burns and Jeff Neal. I think we're at a point now where if you're Colby Covington, you want to see contender days are over. Let's just have fun fights. That's where I'm at with the guy. And
he's been calling for that Wonder Boy fight for a while.
And I actually like that fight. I like him against Michael Venom Page, who actually just booked a fight against Charles Magomedov up at 185. Like that fight, but still, that's a fun one. Maybe, how do you feel about Colby Covington maybe facing some lightweights? How do you feel about, he's not going to face Poirier, but that was one worse for a long time.
By the way, he said he's fighting a top 8 guy, right?
Who, Poirier?
Yeah.
Oh, I've not seen that, no.
No, that was Patty, my bad. Did you see that tweet come out?
No, I did not.
So Patty, it's kind of off topic a little bit here. But Patty announced on his Twitter that his next opponent is being set, and it's a top 8 guy.
I'm guessing Michael Chandler.
That's what a lot of people are saying. I'm kind of leaning that way too.
Chandler said last week that he'd like to fight Patty too. So there's smoke, there's fire, But as far as Colby, maybe Chandler, who do you have any interest in seeing him fight again? I guess would be my question.
It doesn't. I'm not looking forward to a fight, but I think if they give him the right matchup, it could be interesting.
You're like, bro, I've never looked forward to a Colby.
If I'm being honest, fight. I gotta give credit. Like that first Kamaru fight, banger. You know what I mean? He got the second one. I didn't necessarily think he deserved it. He fought Leon. I definitely didn't think he deserved to fight Leon.
No.
A Jorge fight was really hyped up, but it didn't end up living to what the status could have been, the friendship war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this one, like. I just wanted to see, like, I thought he would maybe be able to power through, probably lose, Buckley would look good, or maybe even win. I thought he was actually, at the time, I thought it was he could possibly win it, but like putting into account that he's 36 going on 37, had been a year away removed from the sport, that he had been fighting like once a year. Like, it didn't seem like fighting was necessarily his priority. He had been offered several fights throughout the past year.
Rejected Ian Gary.
And it just, none of those things led me. That's why I said it. That's the only reason I said that was one of the main, like, all of that combined was the main reason I didn't beat Colby. I think under different circumstances, I could have seen myself picking Colby. Glad I didn't.
Yeah, right.
But, it all worked out how it did.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm not sure where he goes from here. People are debating, was Colby Covington ever elite? I'm going to say yeah, but, as far as right now, no. And I think that I don't have much interest in seeing him compete. And even as far as, like, the trash talking goes.
They talked about, like, his best wins, dude, and once you break him down, it's kind of like,
it's rough. His best win is Rafael dos Anjos. Whenever RDA was on, people forget though how fucking good RDA was when he first.
Damian Maia in there, but that was,
dude. K1 Maia, dude. He won the first round. I don't give a shit.
But then and then after that, I can't remember the Korean fighter. That's the next person they bring.
Dong-Hyun Kim.
Which Dong-Hyun Kim had a high level, but
the stun gun. But that was his last fight, and he was old.
That's what I'm saying though. Like the fact that they go back that far back to Dong-Hyun Kim.
It's kind of fitting that Buckley is beating older welterweights and like making his name off of that. And he faced Colby. That's kind of like how Colby made his name. You know, when you kind of think about it, kind of.
Granted, he's gonna have to take up the next step. I will say Kamaru is necessarily older, but at the same time, though, the caliber of Kamaru versus the caliber of Kobe is significantly different. Yeah,
I have no idea where Kamaru is at this stage in his career. You know,
I feel like if he doesn't want to fight, I feel like he'll just come out and do it.
Yeah, but as far as the future goes, man, happy for Buckley. Excited to see what he does next. Goddamn, co-main event. I want to talk about this one, man, because Killer Cub Swanson is just—he's ageless.
By the way,
you know,
feel good moment, man.
Yeah, one of the best feel-good moments in a long time. 41 years young, Cub Swanson, the UFC already Hall of Famer, one of the action stars, one of those guys that 10 years from now you're gonna be like, son, I was there for Cub Swanson versus Doo Ho Choi. Like one of those things, man. Coming back here at 41 years old, looking for his 30th win, and he gets it with a blistering 1-2.
By the way,
down the pipe.
Sad to say, but one of the last WEC guys gone again.
Well, that's the question. Is he gone?
Oh, no, he came out officially.
Well, he said that he's not retired yet, but he says he feels like he could retire off of this.
I thought he went on aerial and he said he was done finally.
No. He said that he feels like he could be done, but he's not going to call it a day. I mean, and he actually showed interest in a rematch with Doo Ho Choi.
I mean, it's like, they would kill each other.
Right? If they say, I mean, fuck, dude. Would you not like to see that, though?
I mean...
Would you not like to see that?
I mean, I could see one result going one way that I wouldn't enjoy. I'll tell you what.
Which would be Cub getting knocked out, but I don't think that would happen.
Brutally. I mean, I'd hope not, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. But look, if he does retire, this is about as good of a result you could possibly have. I mean, Billy Quarantillo, the younger, dude, just says so much about Cub Swanson. 41 years old. He's been around long enough to be facing this next generation of action guys like Billy Q.
And that's Billy Q, man. He did what he was supposed to do, you know? he fought the way you thought Billy Q would fight, and at what cost, you know, obviously.
Yeah, and he got flattened, you know. But this fight lives up to the hype. Both these guys got 50 Gs. If Cub Swanson never fights again, you know.
Which I think is a smart thing.
Yeah. We'll talk about it if and when he does retire, and we'll give him a whole, I want to say eulogy because he's not dead, but we'll eulogize his MMA career, so to speak.
Honor it.
Because he's a Hall of Famer, one of the all-time greats. If he does fight again, give me that Doo Ho Choi rematch. If not, right off into the sunset, Billy Q. Sucks to see him lose as always, but dude, I'll watch him fight anybody.
Someone threw out Nate Landwehr there.
Oh, that's a good one.
They said they'd have a great fight.
That's a good fight. Oh man, you know what? I'm actually dying to see Billy Q against Crone Gracie. No fucking.
Should have done that, right?
Yeah, dude. Jokes aside. I love Cub Swanson. Great win for him. I don't think there's a whole lot to really say here. I mean, it was a banger fight. It lived up to the hype, you know? Like, this is excellent matchmaking we knew going in. Rest of the card, dude, the final, I don't even say final 4 fights. UFC Tampa was just violent as
It had the
fuck.
perfect closeout.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to close out 2024, this is the way to do it. So we talked about the top 2 fights, both finishes. We'll just move one down. Flyweights, Manel Cape against Bruno da Silva. Bruno da Silva, kind of one of those more quiet names at flyweight, but still moving his way up, you know?
It's weird, though. You look at his record, dude, and if he's facing, like, really a relatively late guy, 125, he has fallen short.
He has. I mean, losses to David Dvorak to
Great,
gear Nurmagomedov.
But then again, you look at the wins, though.
It's like Cody Durden, Tyson Nam, some good names.
Those
JP Buys.
Those last 2 are really good, but then it's like JP Bays and is that Victor Rodriguez?
Victor Rodriguez. Yeah.
And it kind of like you look at and it's kind of like, well, I mean, those were good bounce backs, but the losses are pretty high level guys, though.
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
issue.
Point being, though, Manel Cape knocks him out. Well, I mean, body kick.
He styled on him.
Yeah, he styled on him. Afterwards, he calls for a title shot. Dana afterwards being like, "Fuck off." But
I don't know why they never made KKF Manel Cave again. I think that was a big mistake on their part.
You know, there's not many blood feuds at flyweight, and that's the only one I can actually think of. So
yeah,
but he gets on the mic and he's like, "Yo, fuck KKF, fuck Israel Adesanya and Izzy."
Fuck Brendan Moreno.
Yeah, he records his reaction to watching the fights, and he's like, what do you say fuck me for? Like, what, like I'm not even involved with this.
You're right, though. You watch all the Izzy does, and he always takes those pretty lightheartedly. Like, he never goes too deep into it. He's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I remember afterwards, he's like, I got to give him his flowers, so he styled on him.
He did style on him. So we love Manel Cape.
He was styling hard. Like, dude, seemed
he was in flow state.
I think that was one of his flow state fight because, dude, there was one point like, what was his name?
Bruno da Silva.
Okay, I wanted to say something else. I thought it was that. But, dude, Bruno Silva, like, came at him, dude. He avoided every single shot and threw right back, and every single thing was landing. Like, everything he threw landed pretty seamlessly and effectively.
Yeah, Manel Cape's a fucking dog, dude. I mean,
By the way,
the best performance of his UFC career, I think.
Probably. But then I just gotta say, where the fuck were the USA chants all night when it came to this fighter? Because they chanted USA for all the other guys. Shit, they chanted USA for, I forgot who it was. Who did they have? Who they chanted USA for? I'm here trying to look at it. They chanted USA for Adrian Yanez, but they didn't chant USA for fucking Dustin Jacoby, dude. Come on.
Look, Dustin Jacoby is an American hero in this household. Okay, on Saturday night.
Don't get me wrong, the fight, but dude, the finish,
dude. Yeah,
where the fuck were the USA chants when he won? You know,
Dustin Jacoby facing Vitor Petrino, who you said you still had a little bit of hope for. I said if you're getting submitted by Lionheart Smith at this point in the career,
but I did put his perspective. He started his MMA career in 2019, though.
Still has room for develop.
And he's relying a lot on his athleticism, and he's shown good stuff. But at the same time, he's fighting Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby. Justin Jacoby's had 2 UFC careers. Anthony Smith is how many was it? 60 fights.
60 fights now,
dude. Like the gap in knowledge is so big that his natural physical talents aren't gonna make up for that much experience. That's what I'm saying. Like when you start your fighting career in 2019, and like I forgot when he signed, but like a few years, like doesn't go that far back. I think.
Yeah.
When does it say?
2022.
That's what I'm saying. And he beat all the right guys coming in. Like you look at the guys he beat. He didn't beat anybody ungodly, unworldly that didn't seem winnable. Yeah. But you look at the last fights, it's like, okay, there's a gap now at the quality of a fighter now.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, look, I'll say this. Maybe he still has potential, but just Dustin Jacoby landing a 1-2, spinning his head around, kind of like Usman Masvidal-esque.
That was the first thing that popped up in my head. In Florida too, again, man.
Yeah, he spun him around. God, I love Dustin Jacoby, man. And he's had some rough losses going into this fight, so it's like, damn, like I kind of like seeing him get one. I mean, he had lost 4 of his last 5. Including to Dom Reyes, who knocked him out. So happy to see Dustin Jacoby getting back on the right track. He's a guy that at one point I was like, damn, like, is Dustin Jacoby going to come through and fucking fight for a title or something? Whenever he was on that run where he won 8 in a row or some shit.
He was close. He was close to getting that push. It just didn't end up going that way.
Yeah, love to see him get the win. Also on the main card, Daniel Marcos defeating Adrian Yanez by split decision. This is a fun fight.
It surprised me.
Could have gone the other way, It was a very, very close fight.
I think Yanez, I don't want to say threw it away, but he needed to do certain things to make it in his favor. He needed to make certain adjustments to make it winnable, and it was very much winnable. He just didn't get it though.
Yeah, it was a very close fight though. I'll say that. I mean, I Giannis took round 2, could have edged out round 3 if he maybe had a little bit more activity, like you're saying.
As I'm saying, it wasn't much. He didn't lose this fight on much. He lost it, but not by much.
Just came up short. Navajo Sterling defeating Tuco Tacos in the name of the battle of the names.
Is that how it's pronounced? Did you hear it on the broadcast?
Tuco Tacos.
Yeah,
I believe so. But I don't really talk about that fight. I want to talk about those prelims because Michael Johnson, MJ, dude,
Michael Jackson,
yeah, dude,
Michael Jordan.
No. MJ is so good that Michael Johnson is now taking it from Michael Jackson. What's he gonna do? But the Menace knocking out Ottoman Azatar. Just, dude, one of the most brutal knockouts. And then he gave him some death nails on the ground.
Dude, Petrino got some from Jacoby, too, because he was dead. But Jacoby got 2 in there, too.
Yeah, dude. Brutal knockout. I love seeing that from the Menace. He called out, who was it afterwards? Was it Justin Gaethje you wanted to rematch with? Which is
respect?
I mean, look, crazier fights have happened. I mean, he's won 3 of his last 4. It kind of feels like it's time for him to get a big guy. You know what I mean? Or at least not a big guy, but like a name, Because Ottoman Azatar, that's a good ass win.
Do you think Clay Guida, Michael Johnson would be a good fight?
Oh fuck, man, I'd watch it. If they want to give Clay one more, I'd watch it. But dude, Clay Guida looked washed to the heavens in his last fight. Michael Johnson is 38, but Clay Guida is 42, and he's an old 42. So I don't know. But Joel Alvarez, who we've hyped up, I gotta say, this is almost like a victory lap for you and me because we have hyped up Joel Alvarez on this show for years now. He's never gotten the shine. And you know what? Finally got him the shine. Facing Jakar Close at UFC Tampa. Lands a double switch, just switch knee, flying knee. Knocks him out on the feet. And Jakar Close, the referee didn't notice it. So then Joel Alvarez locks up a guillotine on one side.
He catches him as he's
going down, locks up the guillotine, and he starts fucking hitting him on the side.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've never seen that in all my time watching MMA.
It was pretty brutal.
It was brutal. And, man.
By the way, what is it? Every victory that he has been a finish?
Yeah.
I think every loss has been a finish too.
No, he has one decision loss to Demir.
But dude, he's do or die though. You know what I mean? For the most part.
El Fenomeno out of Spain. God damn, what a guy.
The Phenom,
dude. The knockout of the night. I don't care. I understand he didn't actually get a bonus for this one, which is insane. Because I think Jakar Close is a dog coming in here on like a 4-fight winning streak too, with like all of his wins coming by way of finish. This is a violence masterclass. Love to see Joel Alvarez. He needs a ranked guy next. Argue with a wall. Okay. Yeah, still the dark horse.
I think he got to be ranked.
Oh, he is ranked now. Okay,
yeah, he is
perfect.
ranked. Yeah,
Perfect.
I think he
Okay.
became ranked, and he was previously ranked for a very brief
God,
time.
how do you feel about? Well, yeah, he was ranked when he fought Saryuki. I don't know, 15. How do you feel about him against BSD next?
That
If
sounds
I had
like,
to book a fight, that's the one.
they can make that in Europe very easily.
Yeah, that's the fight I'm booking, man. That's just, and he may lose that one because BSD is a dog, but those two are gonna come forward and fucking throw them things, you know. As far as the rest of the card, Sean Woodson knocks out Fernando Padilla. God, just all sorts of violence from the most slept on man at 145.
By the way,
Sniper.
they like I think the tallest featherweights in the division too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's 6'2", former heavyweight. I mean,
He won a
fuck
heavyweight
off,
too.
dude. Yeah, I love this man.
What was the thing I heard someone say? He's like if you put like 4 or 6 different body types together and made him.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I love.
Like
Sean.
he's like one of those GI Joes you take apart. Yeah.
Dude, I did not hear that, but I like that. Felipe Lima defeats Miles Johns by decision. Okay, fight. Miranda Maverick defeating Jamie Lynn Horth. She continues her rise. She wasn't happy with the performance afterwards. I like seeing her honestly, it was really harsh on herself.
By the way, did you see she got attacked on Twitter
Why?
because she dragged the flag at the weigh-ins? It wasn't her intention. She just happened to drag it a little bit.
What a dumbass country do we live in sometimes, you know? And I'm the guy that comes from a military family. I feel like I could say that, you know, like most people in my family have served. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. She clearly didn't mean anything by it.
Yeah, she said afterwards, she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose.
And also, let me say this. No offense to her, but Miranda Maverick is a dyed-in-the-wool.
And her husband's a former vet too.
Yeah, conservative who's from the middle of like, dude, I'm pretty sure like I've like passed through her quote unquote hometown just driving in Missouri. Like it's one of those you know, like cities of like 300 people or some shit. Like she's from a very small town in Missouri, so I trust me. She did not mean anything by that. David Grant defeating Ramon Tavares. Solid fight.
He beat him pretty, like, I didn't expect David Grant to, like,
No.
I had a lot of homer remember with Tavares, but, like,
He dominated that fight.
dude, you saw a gap, though. Like, I never really thought about it, but I think what won him that fight is he had more dynamic striking than Tavares. Like, Tavares was just trying to come forward and strike. He threw, like, no kicks, if I remember right. And you might even be able to look up the stats on that.
Let me see.
In comparison to, and obviously in comparison to what David Grant threw.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, he
Do you see, like,
he more than doubled him up on strikes.
yeah,
Let me
and
see.
I don't know if you can see, like, specific strike stats, like kick stats and all that.
Dude, 55 kicks,
To,
1
exactly.
from Ramon.
Like,
Tavares.
I was watching the fight, I'm like, what's going wrong? And I'm like,
He
and I'm like, it's the
yeah.
striking. It's like David Grant striking, like he's pretty good, but I'm like, I didn't think I thought Ramon was probably gonna win just because he's a young talent coming up. You know, David Grant has shown like some troubles, but like that's what it was, dude. It was his ability to throw dynamic kicks, have him questioning, not just headhunt. Kind of like I felt like Ramon was doing, like he's trying to come forward, and he did have some level of success. But to be honest, if he had a little bit more in that to pull out of his hat, I think that fight could have maybe gone different.
I would agree with you on that one.
But it was a knowledge gap.
not only the legs, but the body punches, dude. 42-5.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like
mean,
it's
dude,
like
David
watching
Grant.
it, I would never like. I was like, holy fuck! I see this very clearly why it's going wrong. It was like the first time I ever had clarity on why a fight went wrong for a fighter.
Yeah, I liked seeing that, man. I loved seeing him go to the body, and it was a learning lesson from Ramon Tavares. Let's put it like that. It was
Yeah,
a
he-
learning lesson.
Yeah,
If he
100%. That's what
yeah,
it is.
It is what it is. He'll be back. Pierre Rodriguez defeating Josephine Knudsen by decision. Just taking her down. I mean, she did what she had to do to the kickboxer. You know what I mean? Just, what is it? Like, I think it was 7 takedowns. So, good for Pierre Rodriguez. But
A mature, smart win for her.
yes, mature win. Any closing thoughts on UFC Tampa? If you're going to close out the year, this is the way to do it.
It was solid. You know, granted, I do kind of think it would have been better to have the pay-per-view and the fight card flipped, but because there was a decent amount of finishes, I think it ended up working well, especially because the main card ended with finishes leading up all the way up to the main card.
Yeah.
So it was a feel-good moment there for the UFC. I think luckily for them, it kind of just worked out. Like the end of the year kind of just did work out. It didn't
really did.
seem like it was going to, but it did.
Yeah, I agree, man. But you know what? That was the last fight card of the year for MMA. We still got one big boxing match going down this weekend from the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It is Riyadh season. Turkey Al Sheikh promoting.
Dude, how many times do we think we've said that this year alone?
Dude, you know what?
Or like
I'm a-
you've said that on the show.
This is...
Just as part of mentioning the fucking, event.
I don't care, man. Hey, I love this fight, and a lot of people shit on the Turkey thing, and I understand where people are coming from. And I even saw, at Morning Combat, who I respect a lot, talking about, like, is it a bad thing that, like, they're taking these fights away from North America or from UK audiences? And to that I say, these fights would not be happening if it weren't for Turki Al-Sheikh. So if he wants to put the fight wherever the fuck he wants to put it, I don't care. Like, does it suck a little bit? Yeah, but even for, like, as a North America, it's like an American boxing fan. Most of these fights weren't going to happen. And if they were probably going to happen in the UK anyway. So for me, it doesn't matter.
And also, they're cheaper now.
They are cheaper. There's a less of a bar to entry.
You're kind of incentivized to actually pay now.
Exactly. Like, dude, and I would have never seen Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury, which is a banger fight. I would never have seen, so many great fights that have happened already.
Better be
Bivol. We're getting we got Daniel Dubois against AJ, which is a banger fight.
Dude, there was a good chance we would have never got that fight.
And obviously, the big one for me is the fight happening this weekend. Usyk versus Tyson Fury. People forget this. I believe Fury rejected like a 75-25 split in terms of pay. And they've tried multiple times, and every single time he rejected. But
they're like, we'll hook up both of you guys.
Yeah, turns out a $200 million is enough to yeah, let me actually see.
Wait, do we actually have the alleged
He
numbers?
made $105 million for Tyson Fury.
Look, I try to be that guy, but goddamn, how could you ever be depressed, brother?
I know, dude.
I get it though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get
Usyk made $45 million. So.
Oh fuck.
So we'll go ahead and put that out there.
I wonder how much Usyk's gonna get this time around.
I don't know. I can't find any information on that. I just know that for the first fight with the red split was, which was 70%.
I mean, it has to change this time around, right? Because he's the champ.
Yeah, I would assume so.
He's the A side now, right? I mean,
correct. All titles, but the IBF heavyweight titles on the line for this weekend. That's the title that Dana Dubois now has, because they were like, "Hey, Usyk, I know that like you're trying to have this rematch of like the fight of the century, but do you want to fight Dana Dubois again?" And he's like, "No." So they gave the title to Dubois. Nonetheless, the WBA super heavyweight title, WBC, WBO, IBO, and the ring heavyweight titles on the line for the Saturday night. Man,
the reigning, defending champion, well, heavyweight champion of the world in this case.
Yeah, I was about to do like the Bruce Buffer bit, but it won't be Bruce, it'll be Michael. So the reigning, defending IBO, WBO, WBC, and the ring heavyweight champion.
Not gonna lie, dude, it's gonna be a dark day when both those guys are gone for us.
Yeah, dude. Hey, well, God, and Michael Buffer is obviously kind of washed at this point.
No, but he's still for boxing though. You're still like, yes.
Whenever you hear him on a big fight, you're like, damn, that is still that guy.
And Bruce, and I gotta say it, dude. I've said it a while. I feel like Bruce isn't hitting it the same as he used to.
I think he can get up for the big fights, but you can definitely tell. Like, on
I think
nights,
it's age too, though, dude. Like, I think
you can definitely tell. Like on certain nights, it's like, dude, he's tired.
I mean, can you blame him?
No, he's fucking 65 now. So, yeah, it is what it is. But according to the current line from our friends over at BetMGM, Oleksandr Usyk entering the fight is a minus 125 betting favorite. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, coming back as a plus 125. If you guys want to go and throw some money down on this fight, you can follow that link down below. With BetMGM, you can get up to $1,500 in free bets paid back if you don't hit. Contact 1-800-GAMBLER if you're having any issues. But for me personally, man, I think it's not going to be a surprise here. I'm rolling with Oleksandr Usyk. I picked him to win the first fight. And I was at the gym yesterday and I rewatched the first fight all the way through again. For me, I don't want to say I struggle to see how Tyson Fury gets this done. Because there is a pathway to victory. Rewatching the fight, the uppercuts were landing. Whenever he was moving forward, he actually was having success. And that's something that heading into this fight, he said, like, I'm not going to try and box with him. I'm going forward and I'm trying to go for the knockout. And you saw in kind of those middle rounds, whenever Tyson Fury was kind of going forward, I believe it was like something like rounds 4 through 7 or 8. He won all those rounds in a row. It was him going forward. It was him landing the uppercuts, going to the body, having Usyk kind of think. But eventually, Usyk he made the adjustments. Like, okay, I'm going to intercept this guy coming in, which led him to landing the 1-2 up against the ropes, which put Fury down. And if that fight's not the undisputed heavyweight title of the world, they probably call that fight off, man. Like that fight, that was a brutal knockdown. He was out on his feet. And from that moment forward, Usyk essentially just took over. Give me your thoughts on the fight, man. Give me your excitement level and your overall prediction.
I mean, it's one of the best combat matches we could have the entire year. If we're throwing Muay Thai, MMA, all of it in at once, like you can't get much better than this, if at all better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
for me, dude, I feel, and there's probably, it's a clear reason why, but I feel like we haven't had the Tyson. I like calling it the Gypsy King. The Gypsy King comes out like since those last Deontay Wilder fights, dude. When he has that arm right here, and you see him have that little jitter. And the last time you saw that, it's really funny. After he got knocked down from Francis, I kind of tell he kind of locked in, and he started kind of doing that a little bit more, like a little bit that little slight feints he does, and I feel like that's when he's on, like that's when he's locked in. And I feel like, like I said, even in the Francis fight and even in Usyk, I didn't fully kind of see that really in him. And granted, we found out some news, right, that his wife had a miscarriage. They didn't inform him about it during fight week. They hadn't talked in a little while. I mean, there's a lot of overlying factors to a point now where he said he hasn't talked to his wife. He's only talked to his wife in the last 3 months, 3 times, I think, once a month. Like he's locked in on this shit. Like I think in his head, he's like, this is do or die. Like I want to say do or die for his career, but he's like, this is gonna be a defining moment that I need to capitalize on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think hopefully we get the best version of him. We get the best version of this fight where both of these guys were hyper competitive. They're testing each other, pushing each other. I'm gonna go Fury, man. He's just a guy that he, like I said it on the I might have even said it last time. He's like adversity is, I think, what fuels this guy at 100%. Like being in these tough scenarios, being in these kind of impossible situations, being in the darkest, deepest holes. Like him versus his mind, I think is the constant battle of his like life. Even, and let alone even in the fight game, dude, where like a loss can fucking dawn on you relentlessly, you know?
Yeah.
So I imagine, and I hope to see, and dude, who doesn't want to see a fucking trilogy? You know what I mean?
That's true. If these guys, I mean, fuck, dude.
I'm not gonna be
the
pissed.
historical implications of this fight are huge.
That's what I'm saying. You know, at one point in time, and I mean, there's definitely still people out there, but they thought Tyson Fury was the best heavyweight in the world. Granted, though, I don't know if you can be the best heavyweight in the world by getting knocked out by a guy who's an MMA who's never boxed amateurly or professionally, but that's just my take.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this now. I never bought into the, like, people were like, you know what? He may not be the GOAT, but he beats every heavyweight of all time because of his size and his skill. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He just doesn't. And that's no offense to Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury fights to the level of his competition. It doesn't. Otto Valine nearly beat him. You know what I mean? He went to war.
Was a big factor.
But he went to war with USS Steve Cunningham, who was a cruiserweight, who was past his prime at this time. He went to war with Francis Ngannou. You know, like this is a guy that fights to his level.
That's what I'm saying. Is he gonna get up for this one? Is he gonna beat? And I think he is, man.
And I think he is up for this fight. But he was also up for the last fight. I mean, people forget, man. That was the lightest he's ever been. You know, he looked quick. He looked great in the first half of that fight. But once that knockdown came, and that's
heavyweight boxing, man.
Yeah, I scored the fight 8-4 to Usyk. I don't think it was actually that hard to score. But if it weren't for that knockdown, Tyson Fury wouldn't have done the cards, which is crazy to me. But that's how it would have gone. I'm not sure the way Usyk gets it done, but I do think he'll win on Saturday. I think it's going to be another close fight, and Tyson Fury absolutely has a chance to win this one, man. He is an all-time great. I don't think he's the greatest of all time, but at 6'9" with all the wins. I mean, Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder, beat Chisholm.
It is crazy. He's a younger guy, right, in this?
Correct. Usyk 37. I still think he's 37. Let me double check. Okay, yeah. Usyk is still 37. The cat out of Ukraine, Tyson Fury, coming back, 36 years old now. So 37, 36, very close in age. The story writes itself, man. Undisputed heavyweight title on the line, or damn near undisputed, but whatever. I'm going to call it undisputed. The real champ is here, is what I'm saying.
The champ is here.
Yeah. And Tyson Fury, the chance to avenge the loss and potentially work his way to a trilogy fight and to establish himself as the greatest heavyweight of this era. Oleksandr Usyk, if he wins 23-0, undisputed heavyweight champion, undisputed cruiserweight champion, so many all-time greats under his belt. I mean, one of the GOATs of all. I mean, if he beats Fury again, he's one of the GOATs. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, the only men to have ever been undisputed at cruiserweight and heavyweight, Evander Holyfield, Oleksandr Usyk. And Usyk's done it without taking a loss. So, very interested to see what happens here.
Beat Joshua twice.
Yeah.
Might beat Tyson Fury twice.
Exactly. And
do you think he retires after this, or do you think he'll stick around? He'll want to do a fight again with Dubois and then call it a day?
He's a guy that's really hard to get a read on. You know, like he said he wants to fight for longer, that like he may fight until he's 40. But he's also said, like, after this one, I'm not sure what I'll do. So, like, I have no idea. You know, I could see him fighting Dubois.
Could you see him retiring, like, right after this fight?
I could.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. As far as the undercard, there's a couple fights I don't care about. This fight's...
It's one of their weaker undercards where they don't have, like, a second kind of on the rise or kind of massive. I could be incorrect. Like, some of these guys might be hyped up.
I mean, Sergey Bolshak versus Ishmael Davis should be okay at one light.
I know they have the English heavyweight who I've heard of a few
Moses
times.
Itama?
No, Johnny Fisher.
Johnny Fisher taking on Dave Allen. I like Dave Allen. That should be a fun banger. And then Dempsey McKean, Moses Itama, Isaac Lowe versus Lee McGregor also on this fight card on Saturday. There's some okay names, but it's not like as far as Riyadh season, this is not what you're kind of used to.
No. It's like I said, it's definitely one of. I mean, I like how they're debuting one of these guys against a guy who's 8-33-5, Muhammad Alakel, who's 1-0.
That's kind of funny.
They're like, yeah, let's just throw
shit, we need a squash match on here. I mean, fuck. I mean,
it's on the prelims.
Yeah.
I mean, they got titles on there. They got the WC International Heavyweight title on the line.
Ooh, wow.
And yeah, that's the only other title they have on the line.
Yeah, interesting. Well, anyways, man, I think we should go ahead and move on because we have a fair bit of news to talk about. And by fair bit of news, man, Conor McGregor.
Again.
Man, this fucking guy. Okay, so I'm at the point now where, like, whenever we talk about Conor McGregor, I have to report on Conor McGregor. It feels I just get mad. I don't know about you. Do you just get mad thinking about like the loss potential and
dude, there's this channel out there that does like a bunch of edits. Like before all this shit broke out, he like went hard this year and made a lot of Conor edits. And now I look back at it, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's like you put it into context. All right, so he has not fought since he broke his leg against Dustin Poirier in the summer of 2021. He promised to return to the cage by the end of 2022. We are now heading into 2025, and he is the furthest away from a comeback as he's been in that time.
It's even worse now than it's ever been.
Correct. So we know the story here. He's supposed to fight Michael Chandler in June after a year of delays. After they coached the Ultimate Fighter last, I guess what would it be, last summer now? Yeah. So they're supposed to fight this summer. Pulls out due to a broken toe. Funnily enough, Alex Pereira stepping up with 2 broken toes to fight in the main event instead. McGregor called to rebook the fight for December. Chandler was like, fuck this, I'm moving on. I'm fighting Charlie Olives.
Smart move.
Smart move.
Took a little while to get there, but...
Yeah, but then even then, it's like, okay, these two can fight afterwards. Well, and then obviously we know the story. About 3 weeks ago now, McGregor found liable for sexually assaulting Nikita Hand in 2018. Lots of bad headlines, lots of bad coverage. Even Dana White, whenever he's asked about it, being like, I mean, I don't... Shit, man, Conor McGregor,
it's kind of crazy.
I don't even know that guy,
it's
man.
It's kind of crazy how he could have been like and he was for a minute there, but I mean like all time, unquestionably the biggest sports star on the planet. Like because dude, the fight never ended up getting really close to happening, but he could have been the first 3-way champion if he were to beat Woodley at the time. There was conversations around the time like that. What if he would have beat Habib? What if he would have beat Floyd? What if he done all those 3 things? I mean, it would have been undisputed that he would have been the greatest combat athlete at the time. Granted, that's a lot of what ifs, but it's like the potential of what the story could have been is such like a big letdown into what it turned into later on.
So I may slightly be getting the timeline wrong on this, but Conor was supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos for the UFC interim welterweight title back in 2018. This is whenever he was flying to New York to fight Habib and his team. He was actually flying to New York so we could meet with the UFC to sign the deal for that fight. And we didn't find out till afterwards. I can't remember what event it was supposed to be. I think they ended up having Nunes headline or some shit. But yeah, he was supposed to be, like, they wanted it to be the first 3-way UFC champion. And he fucked that up, ended up losing to Habib. And that's kind of really when everything kind of went down. But I think we should get into the news of this. So
I will say, Josh, before we continue, God damn it, we could have had C4. I don't know if it would have happened, but one of the biggest tragedies of the UFC was not letting C4 happen.
Especially at the time, whenever like
it would have worked.
Yeah, it would have worked perfectly.
Yeah, just beat Max the second time, I think.
Yeah, it would have made so much sense.
Henry wasn't really happy with any of his next options. It could have been cool.
It would have been cool. I would like to see Henry Cejudo get that shot, but it is what it is. Conor McGregor, though. So since he's been found liable for sexual assault, he's been. A lot of guys typically go dark. He's done the opposite. He's done nonstop of like posting like, here's me with my kid on Instagram, and here's me promoting BKFC Knuckle Mania 4 and all this shit.
Forged Stout coming to the store near you.
And last week he was like, oh, Michael Chandler, I'll see you at the top, buddy. And it's like, yeah, dude, you got to pay like $2 million in court fees, and you've been dropped of every single deal.
Dude, the Conor McGregor audience, I'm defeated though, because the below one, I know we talked about it last week, but goddamn, was that shit? Oh, look at it, they don't even know he's the champ.
They don't even know his fucking name, mate. Oh my god.
But I gotta give credit. He does like fights in that department because he will watch these cards.
He does. At like I don't even know what time it'd be in Dublin, like 6 a.m. or some shit. So.
He's waking up early, dude.
Or that's the thing. I guess he never went to bed.
He's staying up late.
Yeah. Oh man.
That video, dude, of him walking back and forth in front of the TV.
Man, he's on the cocaine, man. He's fucking.
You think he was? You think he was?
Dude, it's like the ending of Scarface.
You think it was perked out?
dude, come on.
He's on that perk 40, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Per
dude.
30.
Does a bear shit in the woods? I mean, like,
I kind of wonder how bad his alleged or potentially alleged drug use. I mean, he kind of confirmed it now.
he was on trial and he was like on the stand. He's like, yeah, I did coke that night.
Yeah, like I kind of wonder how far it
It's like,
goes
well,
or how much it is in reality.
I've seen those Twitter posts. You know,
No,
I've seen
I know what
them,
you mean.
Anyways, he announced this week after teases coming to the UFC, he's actually, no, guys, I'm not fighting Ilia Topuria. That was a rumor on Twitter, right? Because Dana teased at the UFC Tampa post-fight press conference. He's like, hey, we have a big, massive fight in the works. Never thought about it before, but it just came in like today or whatever. Huge fight. So there was rumors of Conor McGregor versus Ilia Topuria. Huge fight. Ilia said he's moving up to 155 pounds. It makes sense. No. Conor's like, guys, let me stop you right here. I am not taking a legitimate fight. I'm not doing that. But I am going to be boxing Logan Paul in India in an exhibition.
Which was so random.
Yeah.
Why India? No hate to India.
No, full hate to India. Why? But everything, dude, it's like fucking Mad Libs, dude. I mean, Conor McGregor's fighting Logan Paul in India in an exhibition, you know? Like, sure, dude, why not? Fuck it, who cares, you know?
Dude, Mad Libs were fun back in the day. They still are now.
Yeah.
They're even funnier as an adult.
So, I guess I'll just ask, do you have any interest in this?
No.
I don't either. But it'd be so fitting.
Especially because it's Logan. I mean, if he fought Jake, I guess it's a little bit more interesting.
For me, and here's the thing, too, is like, if this was a legitimate fight.
By the way, speaking about that, have you
I
seen
care.
the people saying, like, yeah, dude, Jake's never going to fight, or Vidal doesn't want that fight with Jake, or, you know, he isn't good enough, or what? I don't know. It's some insane shit. Have you been seeing that?
No.
Dude, it kept popping up on my feed, and they actually had, like, a full post through one of the sports, I guess one of the, what's the word for it? I don't know, but like one of the sports channels in the UK talked, because they actually brought it up to him, and dude, the comment section was wild. Because he just competed this last week. He had his opponent missed weight, so they had to find a replacement. So they got a guy who was a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Fought last second. I mean, not the best guy, but they're like, hey, at least you can get some rounds in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people were shitting on him, and it was like some people were in the comments like, look at his opponent. You know what I mean? This, that, and the other. It was like, well, his opponent missed weight. He's having to fight a guy last minute. He's having to fight a heavyweight for his first time. Like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I mean, I don't give a shit about this thing, man. I mean, I feel like I had to throw it in the rundown. It made big news, but like, and here's the thing is, like, I think this is even more depressing because like Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor can legitimately happen, and I give this a higher chance of happening than any of these other Paul shit show fights where they've call out UFC guys, because like Logan Paul is signed to TKO. He's still under a WWE contract, which obviously is WWE. It's not UFC, but like the TKO group owns WWE. They own the UFC. You can easily book a fight, and Dana's been talking about boxing. It's like, fuck, dude, whenever you look at all the pieces kind of falling into place, it's like, dude, that is a legitimate thing that could happen. So my excitement level is a 1. I'm going to say that. I have no interest, especially in an exhibition. If it's an actual fight, that's
Banger.
one thing. Oh, I like that, yeah. But as far as this is an exhibition, I don't give a shit.
Oh, by the way, I found the post. We can share it afterwards.
All right. So we're going to move one down. So from one washed fighter to the whole damn league.
By the way, I haven't really looked into this. This is actually really exciting for like I wanted to talk.
Oh, okay.
I left myself I virginized myself to know about this shit. So I wanted to talk to you about it.
Okay. So here we go. The Global Fight League, which has been rumored to start, I think they announced this shit probably like 2 years ago now.
By the way, their format's very odd. Like I kind of need more.
It's PFL-esque. Okay, so let me run this down for you. Okay, this is the league that will be launched in April of 2025. Teams are going to be city based, right? So they're going to have fighters, and they're going to divide these fighters.
Man, is Kansas City going to be one of them? No, probably
maybe. Who knows? They're going to divide these fighters across 10 divisions into teams. And those teams, all the fighters are going to individually fight, and they're going to have a scoring system similar to the PFL, where each team's going to have a total score, and then the winner of that, I guess, will win the season or some shit. Very confusing, very terrible. This is not going to last long. In fact, I put the over/under as far as events at about probably 7. I think
so. Just for the year, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to last long. Point being, this.
Wait, the better question is: do they last longer than Affliction? Yes or no?
Oh, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. But they're not gonna last very long. Here's the thing, man. This is an idea that does not work. But if the talent is there, you could conceivably make some gains. MMA is in a really bad spot right now. We've talked about that.
There's a lot of legends, a lot of well-known guys in there.
Everybody outside the UFC is struggling right now. Okay, so what do you do? So here's what they're going to do. So in order to make these teams, you're going to have a draft. They're going to have a draft on January 24th.
They're going to stream this shit?
Apparently.
I'm going to watch this. I'm definitely going to check it out.
I'm going to watch this as well. Here's the issue. Every man on this roster is seemingly above the age of 40. Okay, here's some of the names we're going to run down. Okay, Tyron Woodley. These are like the biggest names.
Before you continue, I want to ask you something. Do you think the drug testing might be lenient here? Because if it is,
I think they're probably going to have
at least
testing.
At least TRT, right? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, that could change it for me. Like, I'm not trying to. These guys are older. Like, they deserve to have a little bit of help. It'll make the playing field safer for them, I think, even at that.
Yeah, I think more than likely what they're doing is they're probably doing commission testing. I think, which basically, if you guys have never, commission testing is like an IQ test, basically. They're going to tell you, hey, the day before you fight, you're going to take a test, and the day that you fight, you're going to take a test. That's what's going to happen. And if you can't pass that, which everybody did back in the day, and everybody still does at the PFL outside of that one weekend in Atlanta.
They cracked like 3 or 4 of them, dude.
Yeah, they cracked like half. Dude, they got everybody. But
dude, Rob Wilkinson, Thiago Santos.
They got everybody, dude. They got the whole damn league. But so long as you can do that, you're fine. So, and all these guys, for the record, should be on steroids. The names I'm going to tell you should be on steroids. We got Tyron Woodley, Fabricio Verdum, Anthony Pettis, Junior Dos Santos, Luke Rockhold, Frank Mir, Andre Arlovsky, Benson Henderson, Marlon Moraes, Vanderlei Silva, Gegard Mousasi, Rafael Carvalho, Lance Palmer, Will Brooks, and those are the biggest names.
By the way, some unexpected returns, dude, in there. Marlon, I was kind of like...
Marlon's not only going to fight, he's also going to be like... he's going to work... is like one of their executives.
Well, this guy's a cop now, dude.
He is. Marlon Moraes wearing a lot of hats. Oh, that's always fun whenever I'm reading the wiki.
I can't believe it. Vanderlei came out of retirement.
Yeah.
We got Rashad Evans in there, Luke in there. Like, there's some pretty interesting names. I mean, they're older. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they're allowed to use TRT, man, I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There are some names that I'm actually down to see fight. Some of like the older one. Like Luke Rockhold still got juice left. But I think Woodley's got juice left.
What's one of your most... dude, you know what's crazy? We might get Gegard versus Luke.
That's true.
Which is an insanely good matchup that never happened in the UFC.
Yeah, I don't hate that. There's 300 fighters that are eligible to be drafted. 120 of them will be.
So not everybody might even make the cut.
Correct. And I expect guys like Vanderlei probably won't fight.
Really?
That's just my guess. Vanderlei came out, by the way, like 6 months ago and was like, yeah, guys, I'm living with the effects of CTE. And then he goes out and signs a deal to fight in this old-ass retirement league. It's like, dude, what are we doing here? A couple of the other names, I just want to go ahead and throw them out there.
There's some kind of Robelis Despaigne, Greg Hardy.
Yeah, we got Alexei Oleinik in here. We got Alexander Gustafsson in here. Not Frank Mir. Kevin Lee's in here. Charles Rosa, Alan Belcher, Ilir Latifi.
Is Daniel Pineda in there by chance?
He's not. If he is, he's not on there.
I thought I saw him. I could be
Francisco Trinaldo, Husamar, Paul Harris. We're bringing him back. I didn't even know that one. That's a deep cut right there. That's a deep leg lock, dude. If you're him,
they had the Bellator. Is it 185 or 205 in there? Brazilian name has kind of a similar name.
Oh man,
dude, I saw the guy that Renato Laranja always brings up. Vinny Malaguesh.
Vinny Malhartz?
Or Vinny Malaguesh? I don't even know his name, but he was in there. I saw his
John
name.
McDessie? Tanner Bozer the
Dozer.
The Dozer's back, dude. Oh my god. Andre Sukmatath. He's the guy that, remember whenever Sean O'Malley, he like hurt his leg and the guy shot for a takedown rather than finishing him on the feet in like his second UFC fight? That was Andre Sukmatath.
I like how you remember that.
Yeah, that's a deep dude. This is so funny.
Well, this is only the top 50 most followed fighters on the list. Like the list is way longer. I've seen it.
We know. Oh,
yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. So yeah, for the record, I'm sounding excited. I'm excited because I like the freak show fights. This league's not going to last long, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm just curious to see what happens. You know me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's the whole thing. Okay. Ollie Thompson. It's an old name.
That's a good name in there, though. Oh, so that was all heavyweights right there, right?
It's all heavyweights.
So you got to click.
Let's load light heavyweight.
They got a good heavyweight roster though.
Yeah. Middleweight, Gegard Mousasi, you knew him. Hector Lombard, Marcus Perez, Kyle Dawkins.
You know, I know, dude. To
Phil
be honest,
Haas?
I feel like Kyle Dawkins could be fighting the UFC again. He's won like 4 fights outside.
I agree with you. We got Phil Hawes in there.
Francisco
Jordan
Trinaldo. I mean,
Jordan Mien. Yeah, I mean,
lightweight.
some of these names are rough, man.
Anthony Pettis was
One guy that won't even load. Jeremy Stevens.
who's in there?
Sydney Outlaw.
Will Brooks and Sydney Outlaw.
Those are not bad names. God, dude. And then it looks like the last division they have, they go all the way down to bantamweight. They do not have a flyweight
Andre
roster.
Harrison.
Lance
By the way,
Palmer.
you know what's funny? You're talking about
We
Lance
were
Palmer.
just talking about him, dude.
Like, what happened to the guy?
No, I guess we found him. Yeah, I guess Henan Barao. Oh, Jesus.
At least it didn't pull Hermes Frank out of the woods. Women's division. I mean, this one's gonna be pretty light.
Tanya Evinger's back. Okay. Flyweight. Miao Ding out of China, who I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know either one of those girls, sadly.
Yeah. Killer B is back. I knew she was signed to this.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Well.
Yeah, their women's division is very light, but I'm sure they're gonna try to get more names too.
No.
Because if you saw those, some of those divisions don't have a lot of people in them.
No, they don't. So we'll see what happens, but this is just a story to follow. You know what? Maybe a name. This is straight up the greatest segue of all time. Maybe a name that'll join the GFL is Patricio Pitbull. Patricio Pitbull came out this week, and he called his release about a week ago on Twitter. But this week he did an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he went hard in the paint. He during the interview, he's looking at the camera. He's like, Don Davis, release me. I'm done. The Bellator I helped build is no more.
Well, not even just that, but he can't fight in the PFL. They have no 135 division.
Correct. And it's depressing. It's got to be depressing for him to be, because he's been offered the UFC deals in the past. And this guy's the Bellator GOAT. I mean, a two combined, I think 4-time champion, 3 times at featherweight, once at lightweight, tried for the gold at bantamweight.
Beat Michael Chandler, who's a ranked UFC fighter.
Exactly. Beat Michael Chandler. The resume is excellent. Well, he no longer was to be a Bellator. He requested his release. He said, it's time for me to go to the UFC. I'll ask you, at 37 years old, what's your interest level on that? And do you want to see him? Because he said it's time for me to fight Max Holloway. It's time for me to fight.
I mean, I respect the call outs, but it's like, dude, I also feel bad for him because it's like, dude, you probably should have got out a little sooner because you only have so much juice left.
Yeah. And
I legitimately think he's aged. Like he's aged somewhat. Like it's not a significant drop off.
It's not as bad as it could be.
But the guy does have miles. He's a great competitor. I just feel that sadly for him, we won't get to see the best of him in the UFC.
I agree with you.
I mean, and granted, like, can we look at that's funny. Can we look at the 145 rankings right now? Like, I kind of want to look at who he could potentially fight.
So he called out a couple names. He said he wants to fight the top guys. He wants Max Holloway. He wants Alexander Volkanovski. He wants Diego Lopez. He wants
all the guys.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, though, I almost think like bantamweight would be the move.
I mean,
I think bantamweight's a better road for him.
He's a guy that can compete it literally, and he has done it at 3 different weight classes. So.
True, 125 was he wasn't the same guy at 125. At bantamweight, I think he's good enough. At featherweight, obviously great, but I feel like bantamweight might be the road. I mean, you're telling me he couldn't come in here and beat Giannis after that performance? Could definitely beat Daniel Marcos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's that good. Granted, though, you know how these fucking people are,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
He's at worst a top 10 guy in both those weight
I
classes.
would agree with you on there. As far as like what he does though, I hate to say it.
Time's just against him.
I don't think they're going to sign him. I really don't. I mean, the thing is, like, they typically don't sign these guys who are older. If they do, like, they took a risk on Chandler. They took a risk on MVP, right? Because those guys were
and it's
older.
kind of paying off, though.
It has paid off, but Patricio Pitbull doesn't have the fan base of either one of those guys, and he doesn't speak English. That's really shitty to say, but they're not signing 37-year-old featherweights. Got to be 38 with no English speaking.
The thing is, the only way it could work out, they have to throw him in the fire, and he'd have to be very successful very quick.
Yeah. Now, would I like to see him sign? That's a completely different question. Yes.
Yeah.
I think him against Max Holloway makes a lot of sense right now.
I'm not gonna lie, he probably should have signed after he beat AJ the second time.
That would have been the time. Yeah.
Or not the second time, but when he beat him for the title back.
But I also think if you're him, it's like, dude, like you helped build this promotion from the ground up. You're like, I'm gonna stay with him, and he obviously had no say in what happened with the sell from Viacom to the PFL. So I feel bad for the guy, man. If there's of all the guys I feel bad for in the PFL, he's number one.
Well, dude, all the bantamweights. Well, I guess he's not a bantamweight, featherweight. My bad.
Featherweight, yeah.
But I mean, in general though, like the fact that he hasn't gotten like a fair shot at featherweight in PFL or even got the opportunity there. Once again, I felt bad because I mentioned bantamweight a lot there. I think about his bantamweight fights more than anything right now. But like the fact that bantamweight is non-existent in PFL, since that's not even an option for him, even if you want to go that way. It's just a shitty little position for him. I mean, like I said, he's not young. He's not, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which is the other fortunate thing. His career is kind of probably already peaked, and it's probably not going to peak much more, if at all. I mean, he was probably I'm guessing from his perspective, he's kind of in a position to kind of stay steady and defend the title for as long as he wanted to, and then kind of peace out.
Yeah. And it sucks too, because like, dude, his next fight is such a logical one. It shows that they don't know what the fuck they're doing, dude. Because like, you know, he did after he beat Jeremy Kennedy, knocked him out, which is an awesome knockout. I think in like March.
Yeah, like 2 really good wins, right? He beat Maz Burnell and Jeremy Kennedy, right? Like those were his last 2, and they're fucking great wins.
Yeah. So and then he called out Aaron Pico, who is just, I mean, running through, dude.
He might have to get out of there too, bro.
He has to leave too, but he calls for that fight, and that dude, like, that's such a layup. That's like. And that's a huge fight, too, because even UFC fans, they know Pitbull and they know Aaron Pico.
It feels sucks, dude, because these guys are entrapped, right? Like, in reality, they're entrapped. Like, their contracts aren't going to expire anytime soon. Like,
they need PFL to, like, do the good thing and release him, but they're not going to do it.
I'm sure, like, a fair bit of the roster wants out, which is sad.
Yeah. I know I would. Yeah, I feel bad for Pitbull. I hope he gets that UC deal. We'll see, though.
It's all good, dude. We'll see him in the GFL carrying the team.
I know, dude. Carrying the flag for the fucking...
You know what's funny? We should see how the GFL draft works. I think we should have done our own GFL draft, and then we should keep track of the score out of what of our teams would have won.
It's actually you know what? We'll do that. It actually sounds like a lot of fun.
So we'll do our own draft. Yeah. We have to have separate fighters. We'll figure out how the scoring system works, and by the end of the GFL season, we'll see if our squads would have either won the league or if they would have done terribly.
I like that. And honestly, it's such a crapshoot too, because all those guys are washed. So I have no idea. But...
And the thing is, we're also going to see who doesn't get drafted, because then, you know, we don't fuck up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna take all old dudes. It's going to be the Pride roster, dude, led by Vanderlei.
What's the dude if he gets drafted?
Oh God, I hope not. Anyways, a couple of quick things. Ryan Garcia set to fight Rukia Onpo at Ryzen 49/Ryzen the Decade is what the show has been called on the end of the year. Their normal end of the year show, I guess is what I should say. Ryan Garcia not fighting though, suffers a wrist injury. Don't know how severe it is, but he's officially out. Give me your reaction, Angel.
I mean, fuck, man. Like, I was actually genuinely interested in this because I do like the Ryzen end of the year shows are always really fun for me. I think for me it falls on a Tuesday too, so I'll have it off naturally. So kind of unfortunate there that like one of the and it's gonna be weird. It's kind of they've done this before where they have like it's almost like 2 separate cards, but they're not. They're together. I can't remember. But it's like, because they're doing like one half like Ryzen Bellator and then like one half all Ryzen, then Ryan and Amber, which is really weird.
Yeah, man.
Shorty Torres is fighting on that court, by the way.
Correct. Shorty Torres.
Crazy, a flyweight that could be on the roster.
Dude, you fucking tell him, dude. You tell him. Yeah, man. It's upsetting.
By the way, return fight to flyweight, by the way.
Yeah, I like the card though. I still like that Ryzen card. It sucks that Ryan's injured, but you know we'll see what happens.
I saw that Chael stuff right there.
Yeah, you want to call Chael, see what he thinks about this Ryan Garcia?
Dude, if he answered, that'd be so funny. Uncle Chael.
You want to ask? You want to try?
It'd be fun. Is the tweet even up there? Because I'm pretty sure you get banned for essentially doxing.
Gilbert Burns if you guys don't know, Gilbert Burns put up Chael Sonnen's number.
Oh my God, it's still there.
Yeah, 503.
I mean, it's public information. It's not like we can't.
Yeah.
What if he answers? I'm sure he's gonna go. I'm sure he's deactivated by now.
I would imagine so.
Let's see, 503. Oh, here we go. 754. What do you want to ask Uncle Chael?
I'm going to ask. We're talking about our favorite fights of the year. What's his fight of the year for 2024?
Let's see if he answers. I'll tell you if it's... Oh! I went straight to voicemail.
Oh, Chael.
He said it, so he has it turned off now. It's not deactivated. But...
Uncle Chael. Hey, Uncle Chael, we're ready whenever you want to. Whenever you want to pop a seat.
Is he going to sue Gilbert because of that? Because he could.
He could. I don't think he will. Chael's so smart. He rolls with the punches, dude. He did a YouTube video about it.
I gotta give him credit because some people would have been like, "Fuck this, I'm suing." You know what I mean? That could have definitely been the path.
A lot of people online don't like Chael because like, oh God, all he does is talk shit or all he does is try to get views. It's like, yeah, dude. Like, and there's nobody better.
There's no one better.
Chael Sonnen's been retired. Chael Sonnen hasn't been a noteworthy fighter. Take the retirement out of it. He hasn't been like a noteworthy fighter in like a decade.
Yeah, but he's one of the most relevant fighters in MMA. Still in the MMA space.
through like this sport churns out fans like
When
no
did he
other.
retire again? When was his official retirement?
His official retirement was in 2018, but he officially, I think he also retired in 2014, but he came back after his suspension.
Dude, it was oh yeah, the droids.
Yeah, came back and fought in Bellator, but like he stopped being a relevant contender probably like 10 years ago.
His 10 years ago was his last
Real run. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyways, sucks that Ryan Garcia is injured.
I mean, it's a letdown. I'm sure the fucking Ryzen's pissed, dude. They were banking on this shit for some good money. I'm betting.
Yeah, probably. But hey, man, we'll preview that Ryzen card whenever it happens because we love our Ryzen here, man. Anyways, last subject of the day. This is a quick one, but it's one that I feel like I have to put out there, and almost as like a sort of fuck you, because I'll never stop eating, not eating crow, but I'll never stop making people eat crow over this result. We're a month removed from that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, which was one of the, I don't even know if you can call it a fight, but one of the most embarrassing things to happen in professional boxing in recent memory. Well, he did an interview. Mike Tyson broke his silence after a month. He did an interview with Fox Sports. They're like, Mike, what do you remember that fight? What do you remember of fight night? He's like, I really don't remember any of it, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, so he admitted that he doesn't remember anything past round one. And he remembers Jake bowing to him, and that's it. So combine that with the fact that he said he almost died back this summer, and believe it or not, in the end, it was a bad idea to let a 58-year-old man fight. Angel, give me your thoughts on this.
Fuck me. Dude, it's even worse now hearing that because it's so fucking it's bad, man. It's fucking bad.
Yeah, it's really fucking bad, dude. Yeah. Oh, I did see this post. Yeah, it's as if Vidal Riley had taken.
Like I said, we'll talk about it afterwards. If we were kind of more informed on it, we'd probably talk about it now.
Yeah. Anyways, so I don't have anything to say about this. With every little piece of information, it turns out to be worse and worse. So I'll say this: we're never gonna talk about this fight again after this. I just want to throw this one last thing in there. But let's watch some real fucking heavyweights this weekend, Saturday night.
I mean, well, let's say this: there was a real heavyweight on that night. He's just not the best version of himself anymore.
That's a good point. We had an all-time legend. But we're gonna watch two heavyweights in their prime compete this Saturday night. Can't wait for Usyk Fury, man.
By the way, what kind of celebrities do you think they'll bring out this time around? What if Francis is there?
Shit, I think Big Fran will probably be there.
In support, right?
Yeah, probably.
What if they announce Francis versus Dion that night?
They might, dude. I mean,
do you think they'll announce anything big that night? Do they ever announce anything big on those nights? I'm trying to think. They have in the past, I think.
I feel like they have. I feel like it was the Joshua Ngannou card that they announced, that big card they had in LA with Terrence Crawford. I feel like that's the night they did it, but I can't remember for sure. But regardless,
we'll find out the hard way.
We will. We'll see what happens. Excited for the fight, though. Any closing thoughts on anything else we'll talk about?
No, man, it's going to be a banger. Obviously excited to come back next week. Is next week officially going to be the award show, by the way?
I believe so.
All right.
So we'll see. Anyways, man, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the pod. At Courtside Sound for all things related to the show. At Josh Evanoff for me. At Angel_01. Yeah, man. Hope you enjoyed the fights last weekend. Hope you enjoyed this huge, massive boxing match going down this Saturday. Enjoy the fights, guys. Peace.